what we're going to do next to illustrate this chapter's two main topics, which are database application development and client-server data exchange. We're going to create a one-table database. On the server side, we'll do it through MyPHPAdmin, which came with the XAMPP stack we have already discussed. We will call the database My Own Amazon, you are familiar with, and the only table in it that we will use for our practice is called Authors. The table is extremely simple. It only has two columns in it. The ID column, which will serve as the primary key, and name column. That is enough for both our short exploration of the database operations on the server side and for the simplicity of the client-side application that I have created from the tools available on the internet. So we'll have a simple server-side database talking to a very simple client-side database application. We're going to enter data into the database from both sides of this connection. The purpose of this is to demonstrate how the application on the client side collects the data for the database on the server side. That is, it sends the data there, and at the same time the data that it displays is fetched from the server side, brought to the client side, and then displayed on the client side. We will create some of the changes, just the two types of changes, adding authors and deleting authors. Then through the refresh command, we will see the change that has taken place in this simplified client-server connection. I have already created the database and the table before the narration has started, and I'm right in the middle of creating the primary key for the ID column, and that's where you join the process. The table is completely empty right now, and to start the process I have included quite immodestly my own name on the list of the authors, just because I started the whole thing. So as you can see, we're on the client side right now, entering the names. By the way, the names are from some of the mandatory summer reading lists from my middle school and high school. Of course, except for myself, but I did have to write the essays each summer. Now we're on the server side. We're going to refresh MyPHPAdmin and then look at the way we have populated the previously empty table. So we've been switching from side to side. We're going to add some more names right now, trying to be a bit lighthearted here, just like my own name on the list. Lexi is a joke. It's Raffaella Giovannioli, the author of the Spartacus novel, which I really liked. Okay, so the task is to show the process of adding data. Then we're going to start deleting data. And we're just about to refresh our knowledge of MySQL, because on the server side the most important work is closer to the master data. Another refresh, you can see how the changes occur, and that's all you need to do right now. Just watch the process. You already know which side is the server side, which side is the client side, and this is the very application that this chapter wants us to think about. So this is a database application, which is a form. If you can recall my talk about the Microsoft Access form, I had you use, I think, on day 1 or day 2 of our class. So that's pretty much what I've done here. It has a fancy name of database application, but it's just a form. So we have our list. Now let's see how we can manage it. Let's see if we can delete it from the MyPHP admin without going into MySQL. So the next refresh on the application should show the change. Okay. Now another operation on the server side will be the MySQL. To start the MySQL from within XAMPP, you enter the commands which we have not practiced in class, but you can observe it here in the video. Okay. This part is very familiar to you, I hope. I don't think I should say much. I'll just let you watch. And now you're watching another way to delete records from the table from the server side. So now you see why I was so adamant about you practicing the command line client during the semester. So we're going to delete one row from the command line on the server side, then refresh both MyPHP admin and the client side. This is how the quit command looks from XAMPP. Okay, first refresh. Walter Scott is gone. And now the second refresh on the client side. That's the database application once again. And that's gone. Now we delete other names from the application. That's the client side. Now we're going into the server side. See that the refresh has worked. Now we're going back into MySQL, which is called MariaDB. I will explain the reason in the next video. And we're going to check through the command line interface that the operation has produced the desired result. In this case, that's the empty set.